Titan fans, I'm here with Alan Averill from the black metal band in Ireland, Primordial. Alan, how you doing, man?
I'm alright, yeah. I'm visually impaired, but I'm surviving.
So where are you actually at right now?
Dublin.
Yeah, you're in Dublin, huh? That's
Yeah.
cool. Isn't technology a beautiful thing? I'm over here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and here we are. We get a chance to talk with one another.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's the word I was searching for, but there you go. You've nailed it in one.
Yeah. So I know you've probably been really busy because you've got a brand new, your very first live album coming out for Gods to the Godless.
Yeah.
So what's the anticipation of that been like?
The whole thing has been something of an accident.
Really?
Yeah, it's basically Bang Your Head Festival, which is more of a hard rock festival, have this was our fourth time playing there.
Okay.
And they had a mobile recording device behind the stage, which I didn't really pay attention to I don't really pay attention to the gear blurb, the email that you get. And so they just recorded it, and then when they sent it to me, I got it back and thought, oh, okay, we played a really good gig. This was pretty good. The atmosphere was great. Maybe we can do something with this. So the reality was that it wasn't by design. It was more by, I don't know, circumstances, luck or whatever. You know, it just happened. It wasn't, we didn't plan the set like that. We didn't plan anything like that. So it just happened. So in the end, it was us making some small nostalgic gesture towards the albums we grew up with as kids, the Strangers in the Night, UFO, Live After Death, Maiden, Live and Dangerous, and the fact that, hey, we could make a live album. And so, you know, it wasn't, there's no deep, dark secret to it.
Okay, so as long as you guys have been together, because, I mean, you've been with Primordial for, it's hard to believe, because looking at you, my God, it's like you still would have had to been in diapers. So, 25 years, man. You know, I mean, You guys been jamming a long time. You know, you've cranked out like 8 studio albums, and this is your first live album. So, you know, like you were just talking about, that was never anything you'd ever even really thought about.
I wouldn't say it's something we'd never thought about, but it was just, it happened by accident.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you know, I joined the band when I was 16, so...
Okay, so you were a baby, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. We were all between 16 and 18 or 19, so...
Wow.
The three, you know, myself, Kieran and Paul, you know, they were playing together since they were 12 and 14.
Wow.
In the end of 87, so... just as kids, you know, playing Misfits and stuff and Venom and that kind of thing.
Right.
And then I joined in 91. I was, I think, 16. So we've been around for a long, long time, but much like, say, if you spoke to, say, contemporaries like Enslaved or something, you'd find out that they're kind of the same age as we are. Like, Grutla would have been, I think we're exactly the same age.
Wow.
So we all started around, 16, 17 kind of age, so... I think a lot of people expect us to be 50, but no, we're not.
You're right. There's like no gray in your beard unless you're using just for men.
That's a secret I'll keep.
But so I'm glad you kind of touched on that. You know, the fact that you guys started out so young. I mean, and so many bands have come and gone. What do you attribute your longevity to? Because you guys have really grown up together. I mean, I'd go as far as to say you probably can't remember life before you guys really started out.
Well, I mean, there wasn't really much going on in Dublin in the late 80s, early 90s, except for, you know, street violence and fucking emigration.
Right.
So starting the band was our way out of that. We didn't start the band because we had somebody got a fucking guitar for Christmas. And I know a Slayer riff, and it really was a reaction to the kind of society that was around us, which was, as I said, a sort of violent, almost second world
it's so
kind of
different
society. Yeah. I'm not exaggerating, that's just the way it was. So that was our way of trying to find some creative foothold in that fucking society. Right. And we didn't start the band as friends.
Okay.
We we became friends. So we didn't really. A lot of people will do a band for a couple of years and then they get dragged to the suburbs and retreat to the, I don't know, white picket fence, nuclear family and stuff like that. But we didn't start as friends. It took us a long time to become friends. But our early rehearsals were not us just sitting around smoking joints and drinking beer. We're quite serious.
Right. Yeah.
With a definite sense of purpose, even at 16 or 17 or 18, that we always carried with us. And also when we don't have anything to do, we don't do anything. We don't hang out together. If there's nothing happening, we could go 3 months without speaking to each other,
Even
when
now?
we're together. Yeah, go on.
Even now?
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
We don't rehearse for playing gigs usually,
Okay.
unless we have to add a whole load of new song or old songs we haven't played, because it's almost telepathic after 25 years. You can play songs off the cuff.
Okay.
Everyone has their own lives to go on with, so we never lived in each other's ear, so to speak, as we say, to get, too pissed off with each other, even though we do get pissed off with each other.
You're Irish.
I suppose we were quite serious teenagers, carried that forward, but we had a sort of definite sense of purpose, but everyone just got on also with their own lives, and, it's not, obviously when we're away, we still have that sort of gang thing. It's like kind of us against everyone, which is kind of important for a band.
Right.
But everyone has their own kind of space, so.
Now, being over there in the Dublin area, and I'm totally ignorant. Like, I don't get it. I'm just out here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, man. It's a rural life down where I am. Have you found that any kind of outside influences or things going on environmentally speaking, just with your culture out there, I guess arguably being a little bit more hectic, maybe, because I know there's a lot of politics and stuff like that have gone in over the decades and stuff like that. Have you found that any of that's ever impacted or influenced or given you any kind of inspiration to the kind of music that you put out there?
Well, obviously being Irish and what that culturally, historically, politically, socially represents and our upbringing has influenced us. Nothing exists in a vacuum. So, I personally think that you can hear a certain sort of, it's hard to describe, feeling of the country within Primordial. When you hear bands south of the equator and they have this raging, insane, sometimes hot energy.
Right. And
then northern bands can be sometimes a bit cold feeling, or you listen to black metal from Siberia. It sounds like fucking black metal from Siberia. So we have this sort of sodden, earthy, tragic sort of quality, which I think is singularly Irish, but I couldn't put my finger on it. But yeah, of course, you're a product of your environment. So
sure.
we are, we're Irish people. So how we've related to that growing up affects us in different ways. My upbringing is quite different to Kieran or Paul's, but we all bring something collectively together. Whether that can be our collective sense of humor or our attitude towards politics, or but we're there's other things which were equally as important, master puppets or whatever,
Sure.
So
no, but I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because it is different. Because as a musician, you channel your life experiences, and I know that you've done a lot of the writing. You've done a lot of the lyrical writing as the lead vocalist of Primordial, and so you use a lot of that life experience to influence the kind of songs that you create and stuff like that. And over here in the United States, at least, it's a different culture. And I know that. It's just not the same. We can't relate to the types of environment that you're subjected to on a regular basis, whether it's peaceful or not, or whatever the case may be.
But the point I think is something greater, is that Primordial is not about being Irish. That we don't sing about folklore or mythology. It's not fantasy.
Okay.
There's nothing about Celtic mythology. There's maybe 2 songs that have references, but they're metaphors for Children of the Harvest is about the children of Lear, but it's a metaphor for emigration, So it's.
Right.
I never wanted to be a fantasy band. Primordial
Sure.
is about real things that have purchase in the modern age. So, in that respect, songs which have concepts of sacrifice, alienation, martyrdom, you should be able to see yourself in them, whether you're from Peru or Palestine,
I love it.
or rural
Sure.
America or wherever. These are issues that Primordial is, how I say, inclusive, not exclusive.
I love it. I love it.
What the songs are about should resonate within people from all over the world. So that was my point. I never wanted to just sing in Irish and sing about brave Cuchulainn who did this heroic deed that didn't exist.
Right.
I never wanted to be trapped in a sort of fantasy world, So I know that for the serious tone of the band makes us more respected artistically,
right.
But yet commercially, probably if we'd adopted the Irishisms, we might have been more successful. But at the same time, I just think like I haven't got any kids, but if I do, and they come back to me and say, okay, so you wasted your fucking life singing about zombies, fast cars, and muscle-bound warriors,
right?
I'll feel something of a disgrace.
Right.
We're given this ability to try and a platform to be able to try and move people either emotionally or connect on some level, and you wasted it by doing this. Now I understand it's not for everyone to think like I do. Not every band has to have the same tone, but at the same time, it would just seem like an incredibly wasted opportunity to not try and at least say something.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, it does. Yeah, no, man, that's awesome, because I think that gives a lot of insight, especially, for people over in the States that may not be as familiar with Primordial, to really kind of get that pulse, to the musician to do what it is that you do. Now, looking back over things, how many times have you guys even been over here in the States?
I would say we've played 50, maybe 50 plus gigs in North America.
Really?
Maybe 60. Over the years, over the last 7 or 8, maybe 9 years, maybe sort of like 2 tours and a few festivals, and not as much as we would have liked, but we have a lot of, people in America are probably sick of hearing the reasons why European bands don't tour America, but I can outline them for you, really.
Please do, because I've been telling all my guys over here that they need to go to Europe, because I think that, the rock scene, the metal scene specifically, it's a different animal. It really is.
I don't know about that.
No?
No. We've had amazing gigs in America.
Okay.
We really like being there. The biggest obstacle to this is the visa issue.
Okay.
So to put this in context for you.
Yeah.
To call the American embassy from Ireland to arrange your interview to apply for the work visa could cost €10 plus each on the phone. The interview itself costs €162 non-refundable just to have the interview each. So that's by 5. Wow. So already we're at €1,000.
Wow.
The visas themselves and the conveyancing, because you have to get people to petition for you.
Okay.
Can range from €2,200, €2,400 to €3,000. Okay. So our costs very often with Primordial for 5 people just to land in the States with guitars to play usually sits at about €4,000. So that's about $4,400 before we've even played. So you add in flights, you add in the printing of merchandise, when a lot of venues want to take 10, 15, and 20% of your merchandise for nothing.
Wow.
You add in traditionally the euro being stronger than the dollar and the money we lose in changing. Not last year. The last 2 years have been pretty good, but previous to that it was bad.
Okay.
And basically, if a T-shirt is $12 to $15, we're basically giving it away for free, considering all these costs.
And you guys count on your merch. I mean, that's a big piece of it, right?
Yeah, that's what you're playing for. And also, don't forget that a European promoter will pay your flights.
Okay.
And most American promoters, they don't pay anything. In fact, they don't really seem to do anything as far as I can see, other than just book a venue and you show up. No offense to them, but European promoters will, things like the van and the bus and the transport, that's their
right.
That's their deal. Very often, and don't get me wrong, I love playing in America. It's great. I really like being there. I like playing there. The people are fucking super enthusiastic that you're there. But if you've ever seen a European band playing to less than 200 people, the chances are they're losing money.
Right.
And let's be honest, that's most shows.
Okay.
And European bands, we all speak to each other. So Rotting Christ will tell me, yeah, we had 18 here and 9 there. Vader say, yeah, we had 27. Samael will go, yeah, we played in Aya, there was 23 people. Or, you know what I mean? Horror stories all over North America. There's about 10 cities that bring people. The rest, you have to be very lucky.
Well, and I can guarantee you, man, if you came out to Philadelphia, we'd get quite a number better than that.
We played in Philadelphia.
Have you? When did you play in Philly?
Maybe we played in Kung Fu Necktie.
Yeah, Kung Fu Necktie. They're one of the few venues actually that are still alive and kicking because they've been dropping like flies.
We played there about 5 years ago.
So what kind of turnout did you have?
Well, the capacity is only 110 or 120, so the capacity was lower than the amount of people we needed to make any money.
Okay, all right. Well, that's unfortunate because, I mean, had I talked to you then, we got some different venues that I could get you into, which I think you guys had packed the house, and we're talking about 1,000 people. But that's neither here nor there. That's a subject for another day, and I'll catch up with you offline about that because I'd love to have you out here because we've got a really killer metal scene out here. So it's awesome having your insight because I know that there's a lot of bands over here, metal bands, that hearing that coming from someone as established as yourself, it'd be like, okay, we're not crazy, so.
No, it's basically, like, look, an American band lands in Europe, and as long as you don't land outside the Schengen zone, which is like a 7 or 9 country, it's complicated to explain, but
sure.
If you have no visa issues in Europe, you can just get off the plane with a guitar, go on tour. As far as I know, earn in Europe and not have to be double taxed in the USA. So this entire process, American bands, unless I think they land in the United Kingdom, they might pay £40.
Okay.
They have no visa issues to the same degree as European bands. So if you wonder why all these European bands have slowed down coming to America or stopped, or you wonder why their T-shirts are $25. Now you know.
All right.
Because they're starting the first day of the tour. We're usually $10,000 in the hole.
Wow, that's amazing.
So if you've ever seen a band play to less than 200 people, because even the profit on 200 people goes towards van cost, gas, and travel and incidentals. Or a motel for everyone to sleep in for the night or whatever. Right. So, and I know that to build up the crowd, you have to keep playing.
Right.
But that means you have to take the first 6, 7, 8 tours on the chin, probably for nothing, like Behemoth did. But not everyone can be Behemoth.
Right.
Some of us have bills and kids. And
I feel you. Well, I know I do. But
I don't.
Well, all that being said, I want to give a special shout out to Nikki Law at Metal Blade because without her, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation right now. And all that said, you guys signed on with Metal Blade, a number of years back, I guess within the last 5 years. How's that relationship been? And was there anything in particular that made Primordial choose Metal Blade Records over, some of the other record labels in the North American continent?
Well, we signed about 12 years ago.
Okay.
And we signed originally with the German side of the label, and then we got to know the American side of it.
Gotcha.
I mean, from my point of view, one of the reasons we picked it, apart from the history, all the albums we loved from the early 80s, was that we stood out because there wasn't really a band like us on the label. whereas other labels, maybe Century Media or now Seasons of Mist and some labels like this, we would have more. There'd be more bands in a similar vein. So to us, it was just a kind of no-brainer to stand out even further. But also, we just get along with everybody there, and by now, they're one of the few truly independent labels still left as the majors go busy buying everyone up.
Right.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, our albums will sound the same regardless. We're Primordial is as Primordial does, and our albums will sound the same way. It's really, after that, it's sort of, I don't know, up to the label or whatever.
Right.
And so, for us, at this stage of the game, I don't really listen to all the, noise that surrounds the conversation. The deal between the label, for example, and the streaming sites is purely up to them, really.
Right.
It won't really affect me. But no, it's just a case of just having, a relationship with the people that you're dealing with on a professional level.
Yeah.
And also, aside from our point of view, standing out like a sore thumb is like a good thing.
Nice. And I'm glad you touched on, the records that you've done and your style of music and how it's been consistent. So the last album, the actual last studio album that you put out, were Greater Men Have Fallen, and that's a couple of years ago. How have things been going with that? How's the reception been for that album? And are you working on anything new right now?
The reception is good. I mean, it's the 8th studio album.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's hard to gather the troops to know quite where to attack after 8 albums.
Right.
But the biggest thing when you're this far into what you're doing is to be able to step outside of the creative process and sound like, do we still sound like we mean it?
Right.
Do we still sound like we have that energy, that hunger, that determination, just that vital energy? And so while we still have that, and like Primordial's not a professional band.
Sure you are.
We're not beholden to make a record.
I got you.
Or in order to go on tour and things like this.
Sure.
We make it because this is the time that we have felt that we should make this. So,
right.
Look, I mean, people who like the band liked it. They know that Primordial's not a band that churns out an album every year. They know that they will have to wait 3 to something years between things, and
right.
We are not going to be playing in their city 3 times a year. We do enough to be visible, but we're not the most visible band. That has to do with, I guess, personal situations, circumstances.
You're not into conventionalism and whatnot, or any particular type of standard. I get it.
Yeah, but, it's here we are still now looking into making the 9th album. I don't see any reason why we should stop now. So
that's awesome.
We still have some, I don't know, enemies to put up against the wall.
Yeah. Now, there you go. Now, one of the things that's near and dear to Rock Titan's heart, because this is what I'm all about, man, music television. And I don't know what your experience has been over there. Like, you had your MTV, VH1, like real, true music television back in the day that was music videos all day long. That's really been my focus, as someone who's created this entity, and to really feature the artists visibly as they perform their music and things of that nature, because I just think that there's a lot more to when an artist is trying to theatrically tell their story, sing their song, versus performing it live. And I noticed you guys have put a number of official music videos out there. Where does that fall on your level of priority as a musician? Do you think that that's something that's important?
Well, it's becoming more important than it was 5 or 10 years ago, as we live in a more visual world where people are less willing to read beyond the headlines. So having a powerful video is more important now, perhaps also because people digest music on YouTube.
Right.
Increasingly, so having a strong video really helps. I like the principle of that aesthetic, but I find the making of it fucking tedious.
Now, I'm going to hold you to that, because that leads into another question that I want to ask you. But go ahead, go with that. You find it tedious.
I don't have much. I don't like even recording albums. I mean, like, I like it, but I'll do 2 hours of really intense work and then fuck off. Like,
All right.
I don't have the patience to sit working over and over things. I'm very much like the singing will be done in half a day.
Okay.
Or some of it is even 1-2 takes. I don't fuck around. I don't enjoy. I don't have some of the guys. You will be playing the same thing for 8 to 10 hours.
I get you.
My reward is playing live.
Yeah,
the traveling.
yeah. No, I'm with you.
Doing a fucking video where you're standing around in the cold and the pissing rain, mime thing over and over again. It's not my. I'm not into it, but some of the other guys really enjoy it, so that's why we made. If you watch the video for Babel's Tower, which
that's exactly what I was going to ask you about. So yeah, so who's Gareth?
He's my cousin.
Okay, all right, and he directed that video.
Yeah, it's his baby, more or less. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's probably one of the best metal videos I think that there is. Actually,
nice. The
tone, the aesthetic, the artistic principle behind it is quite above and beyond the general standard.
Okay.
Which irritates me that it didn't get more views, but hey. But it's that's why I'm not the main character or focus of that video.
Right.
Paul, our bass player, is, so he really enjoyed the process. It's not to say I didn't enjoy it, but it's just, well, it is to say I didn't enjoy it. It's too repetitive for me. I'm a bit more sort of like straightforward with like instant gratification.
Yeah.
But also made another one, Wheeled Lightning to Split the Sun, which is a mixture of an indoor and an outdoor show.
Yeah.
Made by our friend Costin.
Okay.
Who does Twilight Media from Romania, and he's done our artwork on our last couple of records. He's great. So it's becoming more and more important. Look, I grew up with MTV maybe in the 80s.
Right.
I didn't really give a fuck about Headbangers Ball and stuff in the 90s.
Okay.
Because early 90s I was more interested in Master's Hammer and Beharit and Samael, and I couldn't give a shit about Pantera, so it didn't really bother me.
Okay.
So, it kind of, maybe if it had been more, I did used to watch Sky Monsters of Rock with Mick Wall in 86, 87, 88, and that was more the first time I saw like Slayer, Venom, Megadeth. So that was more seminal for me.
Right.
But yeah, MTV just ended up descending down into reality TV shows aimed at, spoiled, rich, obnoxious teenagers, So.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and that's what I'm trying to get away from. I mean, that's the whole reason why you and I are talking right now. It's
had no purchase in my life for, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah, that's exactly why we're doing what we're doing. So you've got your live album coming out in the next week. What do you have going on after that? What's the next big Primordial project?
That's a good point. We've been slowly adding shows for next year, playing some different places. We're going to Australia, back to Russia.
Nice.
We're trying to go to South America and Mexico.
Okay.
It's like an institution in our lives that you can take a break from for a couple of months and not very much will happen. Right. Then there's a small flurry of activity, but it's not like, we're not one of those bands that meets twice a week to rehearse and hash it out. And we're kind of like the most unprofessional, semi-professional band you've ever seen. But it just somehow works, and we don't. I think it's safe to say we're not done yet.
All right.
But as for coming back to America, well, we played Maryland Death Fest.
Okay, nice. Yeah, that's right on my border, man. That's just south. Yeah.
We played there last year. That was great. So maybe we can get over for the California version, or talking about playing some maybe coming over for like a 2-night stand in New York, or
that would be
trying
awesome.
to play Montreal and some other stuff like this. Because what's bizarrely enough, what's happened is that transatlantic flights, the price is coming down.
Okay.
Even though flights from Dublin to Central Europe has gone up, transatlantic is coming down. So maybe we can, I think people are going to have to understand that maybe if we do come over and do, like, say, a 2-night stand in New York, you might have to come to see us, as opposed to us arriving in... We're not going to be in Saskatchewan anymore. We're not going to be...
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. If you come over to the East Coast of the United States, you got to hit me up, because we'll be there. Because right where I am, like, the one nice thing about Philadelphia is that we're like 2 hours south of New York City. We're an hour north of Baltimore, Maryland. So it's like, we're right kind of in that hub. We're right in the thick of it all. So you guys come out here. We definitely want to be there, man.
Well, we'll see. It's our days of doing 20, 30, 40-day tours are probably few and far between now, but we aren't finished in trying to, we're not finished yet, so we'll see. I'd like to try and, New York is only 5.5 hour flight from Dublin, so...
That's not bad. No,
it's not bad. I mean, fucking Greece is 4 hours away, so...
Right.
All
right. So, in terms of the best ways that our audience and your fans can consume your music, what's the best way to direct them to, get all Primordial stuff?
Well, I mean, obviously it helps us if you actually buy the physical copy.
Yeah, right. Hey, dude, I'm all about it. So where do they go to get it?
Just go to Metal Blade. Yeah, it's the Metal Blade web store is the best place, probably.
All right.
Other than that, I mean, look, I don't really pay attention to all the figures anymore.
All right.
But we have a great body of work, and the thing about the live album is that if you thought we were fucking boring before, you're still going to think we're boring. It's, shuffle on us.
You're far from boring, dude. Far from boring, man.
But the thing about it is that maybe if you sat on the fence with us, this is a good place to start, because it's a cross section from all the songs from the beginning to the end, with a very strong, powerful live production.
Awesome.
So, look, I don't know. I'm not good at that kind of,
Sure. That's cool. I just want to be able to maximize your exposure and give you guys all the attention you deserve, man. That's it.
I mean, look, the label is Metal Blade. The best thing to do is just fucking go and look on the Metal Blade website, stick in Primordial, you'll find us.
Awesome.
And you have 8 to 9 releases to have a look at.
Awesome.
Maybe even 10.
Awesome. Well, Alan, I know that I'm really looking forward to the live release of your album, and dude, I can't wait to get all of our fans out there, ready to buy your music, man, because I know that's what it's all about, and direct them to your merch and all that good stuff. So I just want to wish you all the best, and I really appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, no worries. And in the meantime, petition your government and tell them to get rid of this visa issue.
Dude, you can count on that. Thanks, Alan.
Send Trump a tweet.
Yeah, hey, you got it. You got it, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Later.
Take it.